50 years ago this week, 3 inmates managed to escape from Alcatraz prison, and it is one of the most enduring crime mysteries in U.S. history.
For over 60 years, the ultimate question was, did they survive the impossible? 3 men vanished from the most escape-proof prison in American history and were never seen again.
Alcatraz was a federal penitentiary for nearly 3 decades. In that time, there were 36 escape attempts.
Authorities swore they had drowned. Families whispered they didn't. Alcatraz has always been more than concrete and cold water. It's been a riddle wrapped in razor wire, soaked in fog and legend. For decades, the world has stared at that jagged island in San Francisco Bay, asking the same question, did they make it? But in 2025, a discovery shattered the silence. The mystery of the Alcatraz escape has finally been cracked, and what we now know changes everything. Inside the most secure prison in America, Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, often called the Rock, represented the U.S. government's strict approach to incarceration. It sits on a small island just 1.25 miles from San Francisco. Alcatraz was built as a military fort in the 1850s and became a federal prison in 1934. Managed by the Federal Bureau of Prisons, it housed inmates considered too disruptive or dangerous for other prisons. From the start, Alcatraz was meant to be the end of the line, a maximum security, minimum privilege facility for the hardest offenders. The prison was an engineering and security achievement. The main cell house, built between 1910 and 1912, had 4 blocks of cells, a dining hall, a hospital, a library, and offices. The small, bare cells had tool-proof steel bars. Guards counted prisoners up to 13 times daily, and the country's guard-to-inmate ratio was the lowest. Security measures included metal detectors, tear gas canisters, and armed guards in elevated gun galleries. Prisoners had to earn privileges like work, visits, and even talking during meals, making life strict and stressful. Alcatraz could hold about 312 inmates, but it rarely reached that number. It housed infamous criminals like Al Capone and Machine Gun Kelly. The most dangerous inmates went to D Block, which held the Hole, known for its terrible isolation cells. The prison operated with strict racial segregation and focused only on control, not rehabilitation. Major upgrades occurred during its 29 years of operation, including electrified fences and better locking systems in the 1930s and 1940s. Alcatraz closed on March 21, 1963, due to high maintenance costs and the building's decaying from saltwater damage. Even after it closed, Alcatraz's story continues to fascinate people. Today, the National Park Service manages it as a museum, attracting over 1 million visitors yearly. Refurbished areas show what was once the most brutal prison in the U.S., where the line between punishment and survival often blurred. While its walls were strong, its legend was even stronger, until one night changed everything. The legend of the inescapable rock. Alcatraz was more than just a prison. It was a symbol of how America deals with crime, representing a place for inmates the system had given up on. Its isolation and strong design made people believe that escaping was impossible. During its 29 years of operation, no confirmed escapes happened, reinforcing the idea that the dangerous bay was a significant barrier. This idea changed in June 1962 when 3 inmates, Frank Morris and the Angland Brothers, John and Clarence, successfully escaped. This event made people rethink Alcatraz's reputation, changing it from an unbeatable fortress to something more interesting. The uncertainty about what happened to the inmates added to the mystery of their escape. The 1962 incident broke the long-held belief about Alcatraz and left a lasting impact on its legacy. Frank Morris, the brilliant mind behind the master plan. Frank Lee Morris was a well-known inmate and skilled escape artist. He was moved to Alcatraz in January 1960 after escaping from the Louisiana State Penitentiary. Orphaned by age 11, Morris had a history of crimes, including armed robbery and many escape attempts. He worked with fellow inmates John and Clarence Angland and Alan West to create a detailed escape plan. They spent months chiseling through the concrete under their cell vents using tools from stolen spoons and saw blades. Morris cleverly drowned out the noise of their work by playing his accordion during music hour. The group built a 6-by-14-foot raft out of over 50 raincoats and made life jackets, using a concertina as a pump. Official reports said the men drowned, but no bodies were ever found. A letter from 2013 suggests they may have survived, making Morris's escape one of the smartest in Alcatraz's history and challenging the prison's reputation as an impenetrable fortress. The legendary Angland Brothers. John and Clarence Angland were brothers from a poor farming family in Florida. They faced many hardships and wanted freedom. Their criminal activities, mostly bank robberies, sent them first to the Atlanta Penitentiary and then to Alcatraz, a notorious prison for troublemakers. At Alcatraz, they met another inmate named Frank Morris. The Angland brothers had cells next to Morris and Allen West, which helped them plan their escape. For months, they dug through walls using stolen tools. They made dummy heads to trick guards and prepared life jackets in rafts from over 50 raincoats. They also studied the prison's daily routines carefully. Their escape remains a mystery. Some evidence suggests the brothers might have lived after they were thought to be dead, including a letter saying they were hiding and a 1975 photo that seemed to show them in Brazil. Witnesses described the escape as unexpectedly quiet, marking not just a physical escape, but also a psychological one from a prison that seemed impossible to leave. Weaving the enchantment. The 1962 Alcatraz escape was clever in digging and building rafts and in the tricks used by Frank Morris and the Angland brothers. They created realistic dummy heads from soap, toothpaste, and toilet paper, painted them like sleeping inmates, and used real human hair from the barbershop. These decoys fooled the guards during head counts because the guards only looked for movement. The escapees also dug tunnels and covered them with cardboard and paper mache to make them look like vent grills. This brilliant trick helped them keep their escape plans hidden from the guards. This event shows how deception can be an effective tool in prison breaks. FBI agent Michael Dyke pointed out that they didn't just dig out, they rehearsed a performance, stressing the careful planning involved. While the dummies create a believable scene, the real escape happens below ground, chiseling a path to liberation. The Alcatraz escape plan took advantage of the prison's crumbling structure. Frank Morris, John Angland, Clarence Angland, and Allen West used the damaged concrete behind their sinks. Over several months, they carefully chipped away at it, using stolen metal spoons and makeshift saw blades. They even created a homemade drill utilizing a vacuum cleaner motor. They covered their work with cardboard to avoid getting caught and made fake vent covers that looked like the walls. They did their work during music hour, when Morris played the accordion to drown out the noise of scraping and drilling. When the holes were big enough, they found an unguarded maintenance corridor. They moved to a hidden workshop on an empty upper level, where they hid materials and built a raft and paddles. Their last job was to climb 30 feet to reach the ventilation shaft. They made a fake bolt out of soap to seal the grate. By the time they escaped, the men had carefully created a path from their cells to the roof, using the prison's decay to pull off their nearly unnoticed escape. The raincoat raft conquers the icy bay. Frank Morris and the Angland brothers finished their escape tunnel and faced their biggest challenge, crossing the cold waters of San Francisco Bay, known for its strong currents. They made a raft and life jackets from over 50 stolen raincoats to escape from Alcatraz, showing their determination. The raft was about 6 by 14 feet and was built in a makeshift workshop above their cell block. They used thread from prison work areas and melted rubber with steam pipes to seal the seams. They used a concertina to pump air into the raft and made paddles from salvaged plywood. After months of planning, they launched the raft on the night of June 11, 1962, aiming for Angel Island, which was less than 2 miles away. At first, their escape went unnoticed. However, clues later appeared. A paddle was found by the Coast Guard on June 14th, along with a sealed parcel of personal belongings. Bits of the raft washed ashore near the Golden Gate Bridge, but no sign of the escapees was ever found. Many officials, including Warden Richard Willard, believed they had drowned, but some thought the planning of the escape suggested they might have survived. Whether they died in the bay or reached freedom, the raincoat raft remains a symbol of defiance against America's most secure prison. Allen West, the man who was left behind. Allen West was one of 4 inmates involved in the famous Alcatraz escape in 1962, but he never managed to get out. He had been in Alcatraz since 1957 and worked with Frank Morris and the Angland brothers. They chiseled through walls and built a raft together. However, on the night of the escape, West could not break through the last part of the concrete wall in time. His tunnel was too narrow, and while he tried to make it wider, Morris and the Angland brothers decided to leave without him. The next morning, guards found out about the escape. West helped the police by sharing details of the plan and gave them a paddle that belonged to the Anglands. Despite knowing so much, none of the escapees were ever found. This led to speculation that they changed their route to avoid getting caught if West talked. West's failed escape attempt left him with regret. After Alcatraz closed in 1963, he finished serving his sentence. Though often forgotten, his story is essential to the escape's legend. A sinister admission or a brilliant deception? In 2013, interest in the Alcatraz escape grew again when a letter claimed to be from John Angland was sent to the San Francisco Police Department. The letter said that John, Frank Morris, and Clarence Angland escaped in June 1962. It also claimed that Frank died in 2005 and Clarence in 2008, while John was now terminally ill and willing to turn himself in for medical help. This led the FBI to renew its investigation and conduct forensic tests on the letter. However, they couldn't confirm if the letter was authentic. The public did not learn about the letter until KPIX revealed it in 2018, adding to earlier reports of sightings and communications with the Angland family. The U.S. Marshal Service kept the case open and released age-progressed images of the men in 2022 while looking for new information. Some people believe the men drowned in the bay, while others think the mystery remains unsolved. The 2013 letter adds to the public's fascination with the unsolved cases and missing criminals, similar to the story of D.B. Cooper. As former U.S. Marshal Michael Dykes said, people are drawn to the idea that underdogs can outsmart the system, showing the weak points in strict institutions where freedom might still exist. Science may eventually provide answers that myths cannot. The clash of ideas, science versus skepticism. For many years, people believed that Frank Morris and the Angland Brothers died while escaping from Alcatraz. Warden Richard Willard questioned whether they could survive the dangerous waters. This belief led the FBI to declare the men legally dead in 1979 FBI's Ever. A 2014 study by Dutch researchers used advanced computer modeling to show that if the escapees launched their raft between 11 p.m. and midnight, they could have been carried toward Angel Island by the currents. This study challenged the idea that the waters were impossible to cross. This new evidence sparked interest in what happened to them and renewed rumors about sightings and survival. A 2013 letter suggested that they lived quiet lives after the escape. Proof, like a recovered paddle and raft pieces, hints that they might have escaped successfully and with careful planning. Despite this growing evidence, the U.S. Marshals are still cautious about believing that Morris and the Anglands could have blended into society. As recently as 2022, age-progressed photographs were released, showing continued interest in solving this mystery. The Alcatraz escape symbolizes human creativity and reflects America's fascinating authority. Did they escape, or did the bay take them for good? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this mystery, please enjoy the video and subscribe for more true crime and history content. Don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss an update. Now check out the new videos on your screen. You won't believe what we found there.